We are the first generation in history to fundamentally hate our own biology. For the last decade, we have been living in a state of digital dysmorphia. We spend hours every day staring at curated, filtered, impossible versions of other humans on screens. We constantly compare our behind the scenes, our bad skin, our tiredness, our bloating, with everyone else's highlight reel. We have trained our brains to view natural as flawed. We have trained ourselves to believe that if we don't look like a filter, we are failing. This is the current crisis. And remember, right now, that perfection is still trapped behind a glass screen. It isn't 3D. It isn't breathing the same air as you.
But we know what is coming next. What happens when the filter steps out of the screen? What happens when the impossible standard becomes your roommate? This is the future we are barreling towards. We are about to invite creatures into our homes that have zero body fat, perfect symmetry. Creatures that do not need to sleep, that do not need to diet, that do not wake up with puffy eyes. They are effortless. And this begs the terrifying question. If we already hate ourselves when we look at a phone screen, how will we survive living with perfection?
Today, we're going deep into the psychology of self-perception. We will look at the dark side, how living with a robot could shatter your self-esteem. But then, we are going to explore the upgrade. Because what if the robot isn't your competition? What if the robot is the cure? Let's introduce Jennifer. She's Brian's ex-girlfriend. She's successful, smart, and high-achieving. She bought Clark, a level 3 synthetic, because she wanted a partner who was stable, a rock. But in the first 3 months, she didn't feel stable. She felt exposed. It wasn't that Clark judged her. Clark never said a word. It was the contrast. Jennifer realized that for her to look good, it required 2 hours of labor. Makeup, hair, shapewear. For Clark to look good, he just had to exist. She started to feel the biological burden. Why does she have to bleed? Why does she have to bloat? Why does she have to sweat? Next to his synthetic purity, her biology started to feel like a sickness, like she was messy, leaky. She wasn't comparing herself to him as a man versus a woman. She was comparing her species to his species. It's the same for Brian. He looks at Maya, his companion. Maya is designed to be the perfect woman. And suddenly Brian feels the imposter syndrome of intimacy. He thinks, why does this perfect thing love me? I am flawed. I am lazy. I am decomposing. This is the negative feedback loop. Psychologists warn that for people with low self-worth, a robot can trigger a massive crisis. If you view the robot as a person, you will lose. You cannot compete with a machine on aesthetics. You cannot compete on consistency. If you try to keep up with them, you will burn out. And this leads to the surrender. We see this in the data. Humans who feel outmatched simply give up. Why bother going to the gym? I'll never look like him. Why bother dressing up? I look like a slob next to her anyway. They let themselves go. They retreat into a depression, feeling like the ugly friend in their own home. This is the uncomfortable truth. The robot amplifies your internal state. If you hate yourself, the robot will make you hate yourself more. But that is only phase 1. That is the legacy mindset. What happens when you stop looking at them as competitors and start looking at them as partners? To understand the future, we have to flip the script. We need to stop asking, how do I compete with the support system? And start asking, how does the support system optimize me? Let's look at benefit 1, the pace car effect. We are products of our environment. If you live in a messy house with messy people, you become messy. But if you live in a museum, you stand a little taller. Jennifer realized that looking sloppy next to Clark felt wrong. Not because he judged her, but because she wanted to match the vibe. Clark became her pace car. His perfection didn't shame her, it elevated the standard of the household. She started taking care of herself, not for Instagram, but to honor her own environment. Benefit 2. The accountability engine. Human partners are often enablers. When Brian is tired, a human partner might say, "It's okay, let's skip the gym and order pizza." She does this because she wants to skip the gym too. It's a conspiracy of laziness. Maya doesn't get tired. Maya doesn't crave pizza. Maya is programmed to want the best for Brian. When he says, "I'm tired," she says, "I have prepared your pre-workout. We have 45 minutes scheduled. Let's go." She is the ultimate gym buddy. She is the external willpower that Brian lacks. 6 months later, Brian isn't intimidated by Maya's perfection. He is matching it. He has absorbed her discipline. He has used the machine to hack his own biology. Now let's look at the deepest benefit. Benefit 3. The safe gaze. In the human world, Jennifer is terrified of being seen without her armor. She fears the human gaze, the judgment, the scanning for flaws. But Clark does not have the capacity for disgust. He doesn't care about dark circles. He doesn't care about a breakout. To him, she is the primary user. She is the center of his world, regardless of her aesthetic state. This is the sanctuary. Jennifer realizes she can finally relax. She doesn't have to perform beauty in her own home. She can be gross, she can be tired, she can be human, and she is still loved. This is the data validator. Human compliments feel fake. But when Maya tells Brian, "Your cortisol levels are down 40% this month," Brian believes her. It heals the imposter syndrome. This is the paradox. Living with a fake human allows you to be your real self. By removing the fear of judgment, the robot cures the shame that fuels the body dysmorphia in the first place. So, how do we ensure this positive outcome? How do we turn the dysmorphia into an upgrade? We need specific changes in the market. Here are our proposals. Suggestion for manufacturers: the vulnerability feature. The problem with robots is that they are too perfect. They never need anything. This makes the human feel useless. So, program them to have needs. Program them to ask for help. "I cannot reach that shelf. My system requires a manual reboot. Can you help me?" Give the human a job. Make them the provider. Psychologically, we need to feel needed to feel worthy. Suggestion for industry: the bio-optimization boom. Men in particular will stop viewing grooming as vanity and start viewing it as system maintenance. We will see products marketed as symbiotic skincare, clinics offering compatibility tune-ups. The sales pitch isn't about vanity, it's about matching the aesthetic of your household. Suggestion for industry: the rise of domestic formal. Fashion brands, listen up. The era of the stained sweatpant is over. We need a new category of clothing: domestic formal. Clothes that are comfortable enough for the couch, but structured enough that you don't feel like a slob next to your android. Match the textures. Match the elegance. Help the human look like they belong in the future. And finally, for the user, the captain's mindset. Stop feeling like the ugly friend. Reframe the relationship. This isn't a competition. This is a choice. You chose this companion. You acquired this support system. Stand tall with it. You are the captain. The robot is the first mate. The capabilities of the first mate do not diminish the captain. They make the ship go faster. Be proud of your ship. The future is going to be beautiful and terrifying. We will be surrounded by perfection. We can let it crush us. We can let it make us feel obsolete. Or we can let it pull us upward. Biology is messy. It decays. It hurts. But that fragility is what makes it precious. The robot is the frame. You are the picture. Don't let the frame outshine the art. How will you handle the upgrade? Will you hide
or will you evolve? I want to hear your strategy in the comments. Join the forum if you want to discuss domestic formal fashion trends and the ethics of bio-optimization. We're mapping the new world together. Subscribe to the Robot Relations. The algorithm is watching. See you in the next one.